Hello again. There is an awful fascination in watching the slow motion collapse of our present government. It's like a car crash. You know that the decent thing to do is not stare and to simply carry on without looking at the carnage, but few of us are able to resist the temptation to look at the mangled wreckage and casualties by the side of the road. I feel much the same about the end of Boris Johnson's premiership. I know that I should not look, but find myself compelled to have a peek and see how bad the damage is. It's pretty bad. With each new disaster for our Prime Minister, we think surely this must clinch it. He can't survive this. Every time, though, he proves us wrong and bounces back. Obviously, anybody with a shred of conscience and decency would have resigned long ago, but the truth is that Boris Johnson's conscience doesn't seem to be the strongest part of his character, and his store of decency was probably not large to begin with and has greatly diminished over the last couple of years. Becoming Prime Minister has been his ambition for so long, but of course becoming the Premier is not an end in itself. You have to be able to do the job as well. This, alas, he has proved quite unable to do. With the resignation of both the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Secretary of State for Health, it does rather look as though we are entering the end game. Clearly, both Sunak and Javid have their eyes on taking over at Downing Street and wish to be seen as honourable men who could no longer endure the sleaze of the present administration. They are both sharp enough, of course. Javid in particular is very intelligent and was appointed Vice Chair of the Chase Manhattan Bank at the age of 24, which is really some achievement. He's a Muslim, of course, and Sunak is a Hindu. The question is really whether or not the country is ready yet for a Prime Minister from an immigrant family. I have a serious problem with both men, which is that I do not believe for a moment that either of them are as committed to this country as I am myself. Even when he was appointed Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak still held a green card, entitling him to emigrate to America, where, by the way, he still owns a large house. His wife is Indian and not domiciled in this country for tax purposes. Sajid Javid also had non-dom status for a while, both on the grounds that his father is Pakistani and also because he was living in Singapore. These people are cosmopolitan adventurers whose allegiance is not wholeheartedly to this country. Sunak's grandparents were born in the Punjab in India. They went to live in Africa where his parents were born. His parents then moved from Africa to Britain, where he was born. These people do not have the same attachment to this country as I do, not by a long chalk. Neither for that matter, of course, does Boris Johnson. He wasn't even born in Britain. Zahawi is being talked of as a leadership contender as well, but this is a man who wasn't even born in this country either and whose native language is not English. I want a Prime Minister who is British and born of British parents who were born in this country and have their roots here. I do not want some rootless person who will most likely retire to India or the United States if the country goes smash. I want a man or woman who is as British as I am in number 10 Downing Street. I dare say that this attitude will be dismissed by some as xenophobia, but I don't really care about that. Since Johnson is most likely on the way out, the least I ask is a Prime Minister for Britain who is himself of British origin.